Hi there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I have a really cute card for you today. So if you watch my videos, you know that one Monday a month I do this demonstrator swap, and so the demonstrator swap is tonight. And I'm going to use this cute little stamp set called Tune In. It's a new stamp set from our new annual catalog that just came out the beginning of May. So Stampin' Up! Catalog, if you don't have one, let me know, I'll get you one. But look how cute. When I first saw this one, this is one that I fell in love with like immediately. And it has dies to match, and we'll be using those today. Excuse me, today. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to just, as I stamp, I'll tell you the paper sizes. If I mess up and tell you the wrong paper size, or if you look and it doesn't seem right, all the right paper sizes are on my blog, BeCreativeWithKathy.com. You can go there and see a supply list and all the measurements and everything that you need to make the card. So I have here a half sheet of basic gray. It's 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it here at 4 1/4. And I'm just going to fold on that score line, using my bone folder to get a nice crisp fold onto my card base. We'll set that aside. And then the first thing I'm going to stamp on, because I think I'm going to do all my stamping, and then we'll do some die cutting, and then we'll get some some cardstock, blah, blah, blah. But we're going to stamp. This is a piece of Pool Party. This is going to be our front layer. So it is 5 1/4 by 4. And I just want to get those stars from the stamp set up here at the top. I'm going to be using Pool Party, so I'm going to just stamp color on color. Let me slow down and breathe a second. I'm like 100 miles an hour. Must be Monday. I'm going to get a scratch paper because I'm going to kind of go off the edge. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm going to try not to go off the edge on some of them because, like I said, this is a swap card, so I made a few of them already. And some of them, they went off the edge and some of them they didn't. My goal is to keep it like inside the borders, and that's not normal for stamping, but I was trying to go retro, and I think that looks more retro than going off the edge. So I'm going to just start and see. I'm going to just turn my stamp a little bit and try to keep it like in a, I don't know, like the borders the same. I don't even know how to explain what I want to do. And I might get my head in the camera because I want to keep it going. So far, so good. Turn the stamp this way. But see how it's like along the same pattern or size or length, or I don't know. Oh, and look, I'm going to do it. It's going to fit just right. So there we go. I'm going to stop there. And look how it stayed inside the border, which usually we stamp off, but this time that's not what I wanted to do for some crazy reason. Okay, let's bring in some black memento, set that aside. And on a scratch of basic gray, I'm going to stamp that TV. Now, I was shocked at how big the TV was. To me, it didn't look that big in the catalog, but it's a pretty big stamp. So I'm going to lay it here on the back and bring the ink to the stamp rather than the stamp to the ink. It's just easier that way. And really, if you're stamping like this, you should have your pierce mat, a little bit of a little bit of cushion between the stamp and the paper. Not the stamp and the paper. Sorry, I can't do two. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We need some cushion like this, and I should be using this with photopolymer stamps, and you get a better image. However, since my desktop here is really hard, it's okay. But I'm going to bring in my, anyway, stamp pad. Ramble, ramble, ramble. Didn't even make any sense, but there. Look how cute that is. Okay, and then some more stamping we have on just a piece of scrap white using some Pretty Peacock. I'm going to stamp the words that say, and hang on, I'll read them to you as soon as I stamp them because I can't do two things at once. We've already seen that, obviously. So just somewhere here in the center, stay tuned for an important message. And I'm going to let that, I'm not applying a lot of pressure, but I want it to sink into that paper and get a good image. I love the font on this stamp set. I think it's really big and bold. It's just a fun font. Look at that. Okay, so then I have a piece of basic white. This is going to be the inside. So it's 4 1/4. Nope, it's 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to stamp Happy Birthday. This is another image from the stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it for the inside. Did I show you the stamp set? I probably did quickly. Let me show you again all the images in here, and we're going to use most of them. So here's the TV, here's the antenna, here's the Stay Tuned, the happy birthday. There's also Newsflash, You're a Classic. There's the stars that I used. And these little, I call them news flashes. I don't know if they're lightning bolts. But we're going to use those on the inside too, with a little bit of Pool Party ink here. And just to stamp and emphasize that happy birthday. So let's just put that right there. And then this one over here. There we go. Okay, so I think we're done stamping. We're not done with the ink pad, so I'm not going to put them, especially that Pool Party, very far away. But let's kind of get some die cutting done and get these pieces cut out. Okay, here's my plates. Okay, so I'm going to set it up first, and I'll kind of tape the dies in place. But just so you know, I have my platform. I have the plate adapter. This is a magic mat that I use to take place of one of my cutting pad. It just makes my cutting pads last longer, so I use the magic mat. I love it. I guess that's all I have to say about that. I think it's a great tool to have. And then in those dies, we have that great big TV. Looks like this. And I already have some green tape on there. Hopefully it will hold for one more project or one more run through the die cut machine. And then with this piece, I'm going to use this little thing. So here's the dies. It has all these little pieces that cut out parts like the Newsflash, I guess we called them, parts for the TV, the little stars. I'm dying to use this one because I'm not quite sure what you can do with that. And then I love this piece here. So I'll be using this more. I hope this is the first time I've played with it. But it's got lots of dies in that die set. And then, as you can see, I've cut out a few antennas. I'm going to go ahead and lay that antenna on there too. Hopefully, yep, he'll fit. Okay, and then put my cutting mat on top, make room for my machine, and bring him in. You might not see me run it through the machine. If you don't know how to use a cut and emboss machine, there's lots of videos out there that explains it. So you could find some how to use it. But I'm going to run this sandwich, they call it, through my die cut machine here. And I think, nope, it didn't move. I thought maybe one of my dies moved, but it doesn't seem to be like it did. Okay, take those. So there's the little antenna. Look how cute that is. I'm dying to cut that out in silver and put it on that bear's head from the Fluffy Friends or Furry Friends or whatever, and see if I can't turn him into an alien, but I'm not quite sure how to do that or what I have planned, but that might be in the future too. I thought that'd be funny. And then we have our little TV screen, I guess we'll call it, all cut out and ready to go. So the last thing we need is we need to color that Designer Series paper that's in the back. I'll try to get this in here. Alrighty, there we go. Was not cooperating. This piece back here, we need to do this piece here. So for this swap, they don't seem to mind if it's retired Designer Series paper. So I took a piece of Designer Series paper from it's called Delightful Eclectic, I think. It's the backside of the swans here. I thought this looked really retro, so that's what I'm going to use for this piece here. But I didn't want that stark white, so what I did was I took, let me take this here, some of that Pool Party ink, and I'm going to ink the background of my piece of cardstock or my piece of Designer Series paper with that ink. And at first I was using a blending brush and it took way too long. So I thought if I used my brayer, now this is Stampin' Up's new brayer, and it has a cat hair here in the middle of it. So let me see if I can't get rid of that. Paul, my cat, is going hog wild with the shedding. There we go. Sorry about that, I got that. Now our new brayer is cool because it has these little stands right here. So that way when you set it on your desk, it doesn't get the ink on the paper. See how they kind of stand up and it sits like that? And it's quite a bit bigger than the old ones were. But when you ink it up, you want to start at one end of your ink pad and go pass or all the way, and you can see how now the whole thing has ink on it. Then if you needed the other side, you'd do this side too, but since it's as big as my cardstock here, I'm going to just go one, and then I'm going to just go like that and put some ink on my paper. And using my brayer was so much faster than trying to use the blending brush that that's what I decided to do. Okay, so we go like this and get that other side, and just like that, get a little bit more ink on the center here. I have a piece of Designer Series paper that is now got a colored background. Now when the ink dries, because right now it's pretty wet, but when the ink dries, it's going to dry a little bit wetter. It's going to dry lighter. Told you I can't do two things at once. It's not going to dry wetter, it's going to dry lighter. When ink dries, it dries lighter. And I've cut some down to the right size, because now we need to cut this down to 5 1/4 by 1 1/2, right? And I have some that I've already done that are dry, and they end up looking like that. Nice, right? Now this one's cut at 1 1/2, and I think it's cut by 6, because I just want to mount it on a piece of Pretty Peacock. So my Pretty Peacock is 1 3/4, a 1/4 of an inch bigger. And using some tape here. Oh, and I forgot to get a tape. Yeah, I forgot to bring a refill. I'll have to use Seal Plus, because darn it, I forgot to get a refill, and it's way over at my desk. So we're going to have to use the Plus, which is right here. I'm going to just layer this so it's even over here. And then get it straight on our paper here. And it doesn't match here, but we can cut that down later, because then we're going to take this and we're going to lay this on our cardstock right here. And I want it toward the bottom about there. And then I can just trim the whole thing down so it's exact same size as my card, or the layer on the front. So cut that down. Now we have a piece that looks like that. Nice and retro, if you ask me. Okay, then we're going to just take this piece with a little bit of adhesive and put it onto our card. Well, do you ever have that happen, where your adhesive is so strong it tears your paper? Let me get it going again here. Okay, this is going to be quite the video. Let me get rid of that. Usually I can get that to stick down again. There's so many bloopers on this video, it's not even funny. My tape runner's not working, I can't say the right words. Oh well, that's exciting. Kathy will show you what not to do instead of what to do. Or teach you how to fix those little bloopers on your cards, because there's nothing you can't embellish or make look okay. And look, there, all done, still looks good. Okay, now we need to add a little color, I think, to our TV. And there's lots of ways that you can color the TV. The first time I did it, I used my Stampin' Write marker. This bullet tip on the new marker style is really nice to color in there. However, I'm not a patient person. This one took a little bit longer. So then I got out my Stampin' Blends, and now these are just basic black, and there's a light and a dark. I'm going to use the dark, and I'm going to use this bullet tip. But right here, I'm going to color the legs of the TV. And it's all about, to me, it's all about getting it done fast. Coloring is not my favorite. In fact, it's my least favorite technique in all the stamping techniques, or at least so far. I'm sure there's other techniques I don't know about yet, but coloring, I just don't have the patience for it. And when you use this tip of the Stampin' Blends, it fits in there just perfect. I'm going to try to go slow so I can stay in the lines. Now you have to be careful, because when you're coloring with the Stampin' Blends, if you leave them on your cardstock, they bleed, so they'll bleed out. So you have to keep your tip moving as you're coloring if you want to stay in the lines. Now if you're trying to color a big area, it kind of helps, and that way it goes further. Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to color in that little border right around the TV. Ta-da! And then we have a TV that looks like that, which I just think that adds that little bit of, I don't know, gives it a little bit more character, a little bit more, stands out. I don't know, you tell me what I'm trying to say. Okay, we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of the TV. And then place that ever so gently on our card. I'm not going to apply a lot of pressure in case, yeah, I got them all, in case I have to move my TV, because I want to make sure there's room at the top for my antenna. So I'm going to just gently set my TV about there and see if my antenna will fit up there. Yes, he will. So I'm going to press him down, and then with just a little bit of glue on the back, I'm going to bring in my silicone mat so I don't get any glue on my work surface. I do have these precision tip bottles, which I just took and put the green glue in there. I'm still not sure if they're necessary. I think you can get just your regular green tip glue to come out in small enough doses, I guess you'd call it. But I've been trying to play with the little precision tips and see if that helps. So let me show you another tip. In case you don't have a precision tip, I'm going to get too much glue here at this. There you go. See how that's a lot of glue? So when I put it on my card, and it probably doesn't look like a lot from the camera, but when you put it on your card, it's going to, what I call, ooze out, and you're going to have a glue mess. So what you can do, especially if you have a silicone mat or a scratch paper, just turn it over and get some of that glue off. See how it's stuck here? And then it won't make a mess on your card. And you can stick that little antenna down, and you don't have a mess. And look how cute that is. Love this little TV. Okay, let's keep going. So then here, I'm going to put some dimensionals on the TV front, or the TV screen, I think is what I've been calling it. Get those backs off. All right, I can't get them off with my, I have no fingernails whatsoever. There we go. Who needs fingernails when you have a take your pick tool? Take those and lay, whoop, I'm not upside down, and lay that right there. Is it straight on there? No, it needs to go a little higher. There we go. Maybe it didn't make a difference. Look, now I moved it. Oh my. Okay, there we go. Good enough. Okay, so then last but not least, a card needs always an embellishment. I think that is firm, and I always agree with that. And I'll show you. I have a couple samples here. So my favorite, I think, were these. And these are the neutral adhesive sequins, but as you can see, it takes the small ones, and I don't have enough for all my swaps because I'm going to make about a dozen of these cards, and I don't think I'll need a dozen for tonight's swap, but I think this would be a really cute card to have on hand. So another one I found that fits in there are these. Now this is retired, you can't get anymore. These are called the classic matte dots. They look like this, and you can see I didn't have enough of those either. So then last, certainly not least, is these right here, and these are, and they just fell out of my package, the brand new basic gray and smoky slate pearls. So I'm going to go ahead and use those since I know I have enough of those. Find my take a pick tool. But what I was trying to get at, there's a lot of embellishments that fit, and probably even more than I just shared with you, that fit right here in that little, the little channel changers, I guess, or the knobs on the TV. And now look how cute those look with those little knobs and the finished card, except I forgot to put the inside in my card. So let's put that in there real quick, and then we're done. Like I said, if you need any measurements or any supplies, be sure and visit my blog, becreativewithkathy.com. Also, if you're interested in my classes, I have a couple of them coming up. You could get onto my email list, and I'll put that in the description. I have a new email list, and that way you won't miss out, and you could sign up for my email list. Alrighty, thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here next time. Hi, Glenda. I even noticed that Glenda's here with me too. I'm getting better at that. I'll keep practicing. All right, everybody, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.